Hello and welcome back to Shining Force 2. Oh, before I forget, last time I forgot to do save states at the start. So this time, I have remembered. I know, why don't you do these before the start of the video? Because then I'll forget. I'll just forget every time. It's only when I actually am like doing the intro that I'm like, oh right, save states. But anyway, last time we got the caravan, and then I fought an unnecessary battle because I couldn't figure out where I was supposed to go with the caravan. But eventually we did get on our way, and we've now found ourselves in this dwarven mine. These dwarves are apparently from Grand's Island, but they traveled here to mine stuff, I guess. But one of them is sick, so they can't complete their project. And they apparently consulted, someone left to consult a fairy to heal him, who I'm guessing is like pals with Creed, because we know there was a fairy who was like an assistant of Creed. So naturally we are going to go help out here. And even though there's no particular reason, like we're just sort of wandering along and like, oh hey, I'll help these guys. So we're going to exit the cave and cross the river the lowest possible place. Oh, but we can't go further that way. Okay, well I guess we'll just get out and walk. Oh, there's more stones, okay. There's a battle here, but apparently we can avoid it if we're careful. See how the tile above me is just a slightly different color than the rest of the grass? That's indicating there's a hidden elf village here. So many fantasy games have a hidden elf village. Apparently it's just like the consensus that elves, oh fuck, I immediately walked out of it. That they just like to hide in forests where they're just like invisible and you can't see buildings or anything. They're just very secretive. Okay. There's a ton of stuff of hidden items here, so we've got quite a lot to do. First, looking for the top left corner where there should be a treasure chest. If I can, aha, there it is. The Vigor Ball. This is the item that turns the healers into masks, so that's extremely excellent. We will eventually use that on Sarah, and then she'll be both really good at healing and really good at fighting, which will be super useful. There's also a chest in the bottom right. Let's wander along up here for a while. A side note, if I end up getting these in an order that's not very efficient, I'm just reading out of a guide. I don't know where these things are, as you can imagine. They're a little obscure. Oh, there it is. Oh, I can't see where I'm going. Okay, so we got some more mithril. Very good. Let's see if I can find my way out of here. And now, I think I'm gonna have to go back around to get inside the house. I want to go in the house. The Hidden Elf Village is apparently not very large. There's only like a couple buildings. Not a lot to the place. Yeah, there's like 3 buildings. Now, in the largest house, which is this, let's see. Oh, this is the dwarf who went to find the fairy. They say a fairy lives around here. Do you know her? I'm pretty sure we did actually meet her in that town where the fairy tested us. I think that's her. She has not returned from Creed's mansion, so we're gonna have to go to Creed's mansion. He lives in a mansion, apparently. Welcome. Travelers often stop by here to rest. You may stay as long as you like. It's a very nice village. Although the people in it do not appear to be elves, in spite of my guide claiming that this is the elf village. So I'm a little bummed about that. I thought we would meet some elves. Okay, and so we're gonna go upstairs and search a bookshelf. It's interesting that the other bookshelf just says nothing was there, because normally when you click on a bookshelf you can read it, but I guess because these have a hidden item, they work a little differently. Like, they're not proper bookshelves per se, they're just containers with items. To Creed Mansion, only the fairy knows how to get there. But maybe Elric knows because he's a friend of the fairy. Okay, so we're gonna need this guy Elric's help, evidently. Oh, is this the save point? Welcome! We don't need to save right now, though. The light is always on our side. That's good to know. Oh, that must be the door downstairs. I thought maybe there was going to be like a porch we could get onto. Okay, there's more hidden items to find, so let's see. Around the outside of the houses, under the trees clockwise. So that would be this way. I guess it's around the outside of all the houses, not just the main one. And then we'll go inside the other houses and presumably find Elric. Under the trees clockwise. Come in the mithril chest. Okay, so we want to go up to the mithril chest. Which is the one all the way down on the right, I think. Okay. And then go along the 2 square gap in the trees to reach a secret battle. Oh, neat. According to this guide, we'll probably be way too weak to beat it, but I will try it out just so we can see it. That was not it. Sorry, viewers. That didn't work as well as I thought it would. Going to all this effort. I'm going to all this effort to find something that is just going to inevitably kill us because we are not ready for the secret battle. Let's at least see what's in the other houses first, since we're just going to die. Nothing was there. I wonder if the fact that the bookshelves are like this is meant to hint to you that you should search all of them because one of them has something useful. Oh, there is an elf here. Maybe Elric and his friend here are the only elves who live here. Elric is out. He went to find the fairy to help a sick dwarf. The forest to the west is very dangerous. So, from that, I guess Elric went to the forest to the west? Otherwise, those two statements have nothing to do with each other. But presumably he went off west. We know that Creed lives in Devil's Tail, but we still don't really know, what it is exactly. Go along the 2 square gap in the trees. But that would be this, right? I'm gonna give this one more try and then we're just moving on because it's not at all clear to me how that leads to a secret battle. I wanted to show it off just because it's a secret, you know, but apparently I'm not able to find the secret. It's too secret for me. Or maybe they're talking about this. Aha! Welcome to the Fairy Woods Special Stage. How quickly can you defeat all the hidden monsters? Now set a new record. Best record so far is... Wow. They don't set the bar too high here. I guess it's so that you can have a good chance at least beating it, you know, the first time. So we're timed even when we're looking at the map. Wow, this is really big, and we have to defeat hidden enemies? So I guess we gotta get all the way up here and defeat the bubbling ooze? Okay, I'm just gonna go ahead and say I don't think we're gonna win this because A, this guide told me it was really hard for this point in the game. So we're probably too weak. And B, because I'm already just this map is huge and most of it we can't even see. So we'll try this once just to check it out. It is cool, so I'm glad we at least found it. I was a little unsure at first what gap specifically was the 2-space gap, but we did eventually... Man, this is a pretty well-hidden secret. I don't think I would have stumbled onto this by chance because the map of the elf village or whatever, there were all kinds of random gaps in the trees, so I don't think I would have bothered shoving my face into every single one. Oh shit! Particularly since, wow, that thing looks kind of scary. And that was the special stage, friends. I'm glad we showed it off. I'm sad that it attacked Ben first. Because actually, you know what I am gonna do is, I'm just gonna go back to the save state because otherwise, I don't want to walk all the way back. Here we are, friends. Glad I made that. Well, we showed off the special stage, and we showed off the reason why the guide I'm using says you are not going to beat it at this point in the game, but, as far as I know, and I'm just going to quickly get all those items again now that I know where they are, I read elsewhere in other parts of this guide that that's apparently one of the best spots to level grind in the game, so I guess I'm assuming later on when you're no longer so weak that you get one shot. I'm really bummed that Ben was the one it attacked. If it was anyone else, I would have just been like, okay, we'll egress out, but you know, I don't want to lose half my gold. We worked hard to earn that gold from something that I knew was a bad idea and did solely to show it off. But I'm sure that we'll, you know, eventually return when we're a bit stronger and are ready to beat that stage. Apparently in the Japanese version there's like 2 rare items you can find there, but not in the English version. There's actually several instances of that, as I have discovered through reading about this game. Places where there was an item in the Japanese version and there is not here. And that Vigor Ball that we found up in that upper left-hand corner, that is only in the English version. In the English version that I'm playing, there are 2 Vigor Balls total. In the Japanese version, there was exactly 1, and it was later in the game. Oh yeah, and there's another item here. I'm assuming... Oh, the secret book, I think, is a promotion item that turns you into a sorcerer, I want to say. Yeah, it is. You can see it's got the same outline as the other one. Like, it's glowing. It's funny because secret book is also an item in Fire Emblem. It's a stat booster. So for a second I was like, a secret book so I can boost someone's skill? But it has a somewhat different purpose here. We'll just talk to this elf again. You know, it's kind of sad that there's like 2 elves in the elf village. Everyone else appears to be a human. And also there's only 3 people in the entire village. This place is lame. But it had a lot of good hidden treasures. So now, we're gonna head west toward the Devil's Tail, and there is a battle here. And I knew this from reading my guide, if you enter the river higher up, you can end up getting into this battle before you go to the town, so I deliberately saved it for now. So let's look at the map. Wow, this is an enormous map. So this battle is gonna be long. This is a huge outdoor map. Oh, and I'm already like 12 minutes in. This battle may end up getting split in half. Let's see who all is here. We got gargoyles. A lot of forest and mountain too. Oh, I think this person is new. The Dark Madam, which is the upgrade of the witch. Dark Madam honestly does not sound like a magic user. It sounds more like some sort of like person at a BDSM club or something. But they have freeze too, so that is quite dangerous. Oh, and this is new also, the Orc. Uses lances. Oh, and this guy, who the fuck is this? The High Priest. So he's got the more powerful... Oh, and that Shining Ball, if we kill him with someone who has an empty inventory slot, we can get that. It's not particularly good, though. It's like an item that does like 20 damage, I think. Which is not that much. Like, there's no reason not to get it, but also, if we end up just not doing that, it's not a priority. So I guess there's nothing to do but just walk forwards and get started. This map is really huge. And the issue is also that if you look at it, there's not really any particular strategy to how to go through. I guess we'll just walk from one side to the other and just have monsters come towards us. There's not... It's large, but it's not strategically interesting, which is an ongoing problem in this game that also did happen, particularly with some of the outdoor maps in the first game, where sometimes you just have these huge spaces and they're not used in an interesting way. It's just like, oh, we'll put some enemies all over them. And it's like, well, okay. Guess that's that. I do think in this game because, you know, in the first game, after the battles, you could walk around on the outdoor maps, and like there'd be a town on the one on the left side and the right side, and you walk to the next town. But the maps were primarily battle maps. There was not like a lot of free roaming in that game. Whereas in this game, this has to double as a battle map and part of the overworld, which I think is part of the reason why a lot of these maps are just super, super large, but there's not any room to be that large, really. They're overworld, so we're basically fighting on the world map. Which is sort of awkward in this game. I'm fine with large maps in tactics games if there's something interesting done with the map. So it's not just a big old field that you walk across. If it's like there's some, you know, there's like strategy to it, or there's different sections, or maybe if you have a larger party, there's only 12 characters we can bring to battles here, but, you know, if you have more the FE style, where sometimes you could have like, you know, you have up to 20 or in some battles and stuff, then it could be like, this guy has slight magic resistance, so I'm hoping this will be enough. Should be. Yeah, good. But yeah, so it could be like, oh, we're gonna have to split the party so we can achieve all the goals. Someone has to go up there and recruit somebody, and somebody else has to go get this treasure. And, you know, this sort of, you have to plan a strategy for how to approach the map and sort of make use of the different parts of it. Or even if they're just long, but in a way that it's like, you know, you're gonna have to make use of the entire map. It's like a long journey that you're going through, so it's like you gotta make sure that your party can survive until the end. There's an attrition aspect. But here, I don't think we're even gonna walk on most of it, because the original game occasionally had this problem in maps where there were two different maps. There were a couple maps where, like, there was a battle on the top half, and then later you'd fight one on the bottom half, so they looked bigger than they looked too large because the battle was actually only designed for half the space. But this, that's not what's going on here. There really are enemies throughout the map. But yeah, we can just sort of, there's, like, I think large maps can work a little better, and that's, I think, why I prefer the maps that are like the cliff ones in this game, when there's more defined areas. So that it's more coming up with a plan of how to successfully progress through the different areas of the map in a timely fashion. In Fire Emblem, sometimes you're trying to like get to a chest before a thief shows up, or defend an NPC, or things like that, which this game doesn't really have. So there's more of that, how to do that in an efficient way. Here with the cliff maps, there's at least a little more interest in like, oh, how will I navigate this area? Whereas here it's like, okay, we're just wandering around. It's just sort of an amorphous design, is how I would put it, I guess. It's just like a big old blob of trees and stuff. Which, again, it looks nice. Visually, it's nicely designed, and again, I think that's because it's the world map, so it is sort of designed to, you know, have a cool aesthetic, but it isn't really effective, in my opinion, as a battle map. Not because it makes it too hard, but because it's just like, it's fine, but it's just not, it's not interesting to play. It's a little bland, in my opinion, in design. Let's kill this guy. It also may take a while just because there's gonna be a part where we're walking and doing nothing else, which again is an ongoing problem with this game, which I've mentioned before, where if a map is going to be large, I have to care a lot about the pacing, so that you're kind of, you know, as you complete each section, you're moving on to the next one. Whereas with some of these large Shining Force maps, there definitely has been a tendency to, you kill all the guys at the first part of the map, and then you're just walking for a bunch of turns, and then you fight more guys. So the middle part is sort of pointless. I do think in this game, part of it may be because the enemies have to be far away that their AI to attack you doesn't get tripped, you know, if there's supposed to be sections, but I'm like, that's a flaw in the AI, if it's actually like that. That's not an excuse for poor map design. But yeah, you know, we just gotta steadily make our way through this map. The witch upgrade, that Dark Madam, that is definitely gonna trick your enemy to fight because of Freeze 2, which can do a big chunk of damage. I'm also gonna make, I gotta keep in mind to get Rick a level. He came in a little bit behind the rest of the party, mostly because I was level grinding, so I want to make sure he doesn't lag. He's not far behind or anything, he's like one level behind. You know, gotta make sure he gets some attacks in. He's a little weak compared to the others. His attack is pretty low, so I'll have to weaken an enemy for him, I guess. Oh yeah, if anyone's wondering how, in the last episode I mentioned that I had to wrap up filming that day a bit early because I had to bake a cake. The cake has been baked. You know, it's delightful that those words rhyme, I like it. It's just straight thought. The cake has been baked. Today, I need to make the fillings and assemble the whole thing. This is where I'm like, oh, I'm a bit nervous about this recipe. You know, I don't understand why this enemy, the mages do this a lot, the enemy mages, where sometimes they just walk up and at you with their staff, instead of hitting you with their magic, which would do a lot more damage. And we were even in the correct position there where it would hit more than one enemy, so I'm like, why? Why would that even be in? But anyway, about this cake. So, for anyone who doesn't bake and is wondering why yesterday, if I'm not going to do anything with it until tomorrow, cakes need to fully cool before you can decorate them, because when they first come out of the oven, if you've ever, not just ever baked, but if you have ever observed a fresh out of the oven cake, they're still kind of soft, and so if you start trying to decorate them or assemble them, they can easily fall apart or break into halves and stuff. So they need time, and they're really hot also, obviously, so they're, you know, they can get torn up. It would be hard to frost them. It can make frostings and toppings melt because they're really warm. So you want them to fully cool. You'll see this in directions for most cake recipes, allow cake to fully cool before decorating. And that can take a while. It depends obviously on the temperature in wherever you're baking. But you really need to a few hours. And obviously if I'm baking something after I get home from work, or it's like I don't want to stay up until 2 o'clock in the morning baking a cake. I have to go to work in the morning. So I usually bake it the night before I'm planning to decorate it. So that way, you know, I bake it in the evening, and then the next day when I come home from work, it's ready to decorate. It would obviously also be ready in the morning the next day, but I have to go to work, so I don't decorate cakes in the morning, as you would imagine. But in this case, because I'm bringing it to my office, like if I make something to bring to like a party with friends or something, I would usually decorate it before leaving and then take it with me. But here, I have to bring it to my office, and as I just said, I wouldn't really have time to decorate a cake before I leave my office in the morning. I try to be at work by like between 7 and 8 in the morning, so I imagine I have to get out in a timely fashion. And also, I think my roommate would be super annoyed if I was decorating a cake at 6 o'clock in the morning. It would be really irritating. Oh, I dropped my phone, sorry. Got my guide on it. And then while picking it up, I managed to fling it to a different location. I'm amazed I haven't broken this thing yet after owning it for like 3 years. I drop it constantly. It's slippery. Yeah, but anyway, so I also decorate it the night before, and then I bring it with me the next morning. Which is generally fine. If it's summer, I'll make space in the refrigerator, but with the temperature the way it is now, it's actually still fairly cold at night. So, you know, a cake can easily sit out under a cover. And most of the kinds of things I bake have frostings or decoration that solidifies at temperature, like a buttercream frosting. And it's not solid, but it's not a liquid, right? It's firm. Which, unless it's really hot out, like it's boiling hot in the middle of the summer, buttercream frosting is stable at room temperature. If it starts to melt, it's really hot. That occasionally does happen around here in the summer when it's like 90 degrees out, then you have to refrigerate those types of cakes. But, you know, this time of year, that would not happen. But this cake involves a whipped cream filling. And I mean that in the sense of taking cream and then whipping it yourself to make a frosting, not in the sense of like whipped cream out of a can. The distinction is important here because whipped cream out of a can, obviously, like, it is a product that is made to be stable. So even though it can melt, it has stuff in it to keep it, you know, in one piece. Whereas when you're making it by hand, it's up to you to make sure that it stays firm and in the correct shape and doesn't turn back into a liquid form. And not only that, because one of my coworkers is lactose intolerant, I'm making this not out of heavy cream, but out of coconut milk. Which is a little harder to keep in shape at room temperature. Keeping it cold will obviously help. So I'm like, maybe I'll just, you know, I just don't think I can fit, I like have no room in my fridge right now. I have no way to put this in there. So I'm like, hopefully, it's not going to be particularly warm tonight, so hopefully it will stick together. But yeah, so I'm a little worried about it because cream frosting, like cream-based things, whipped cream things, can return to their original form as a liquid, which is not as good to eat. And like normally, if I was making something like this, I would decorate it right before I was going to leave for that event, you know, so that it would have as little time to melt as possible. But again, it needs to live overnight in my house. So I'm like, hopefully this will be fine. I really wish I would have time to assemble it, like, right before leaving for work, but I won't. So I'm like, oh, I'll just have to take my chances. But yeah, it's a bit tricky, so I'll probably just leave assembling it until a bit later. It's gonna be tricky also because the creams will tend to keep their structure best when they are cold. As you might imagine, obviously, the warmer it gets, the more liquid it's gonna get, but this German Black Forest cake also has cherry compote filling, which is a cooked filling, so it's warm. So I'm like, all the components of this are warm. This is bad. I'll have to like let it cool to room temperature, I guess, and just, you know, I'll just have to do my best. Also, yes, this is a this is a video of me playing a video game where I mostly talk about baking. But like, there's not that much to say about this battle. Wow, Kiwi actually survived a magic attack. To be fair, it was a magic attack from a healer, so it wasn't that strong. But still, those 3 HP that he's gained since joining the party are really, they're putting in work. We're almost through this battle, but yeah, my big task for tonight is baking this cake. Yeah, I want to get rid of this guy because if he gets another turn, he could just kill Kiwi. So let's take him out. He probably would have healed himself, honestly. Oh nice, we got the shining ball. I don't think it's going to be super useful, but hey, it could come in handy at some point, you know. I'll probably give it to, like, Kazan or something, because that way, if I want him to, like, attack an enemy, but I don't want to use up his MP, 20 damage is quite nice, you know, for a single target. Wow, Rick, you're terrible. I know that that guy's in the forest, so he's getting defense bonuses, but wow. Rick, you are just... So far, you don't seem particularly worthwhile. We'll see if that changes at all, but I'm just saying, we're gonna get a new party member. You know, remember how, like, Elric, we have to find him so that he can help us find Creed? So obviously, you know, party members ahoy. And I don't know, I was planning to take Kiwi out of the party, but Rick is certainly making a case for why he should be the bench warmer. Because, like, at least Kiwi is a cute little mascot, you know? He has appeal. Rick is just an extra cavalry when I have one that's outright better. These orcs are really tanky! Dang, and they have a ton of HP, too. Oh, they're a real pain in the ass to kill. Man! Seriously, this is terrible. I guess we just gotta keep focus firing them down. Man, that one, I should have attacked the healer first, because if he gets healed, it's gonna be sad. It will inevitably happen, I know. We're now at the part of the map where, like, everything is just rushing us, so we're just standing in the middle of the map here. Oh yeah, that reminds me, I looked up what those chirrup sandals do, and apparently, oh great, that guy's healing, of course. According to the guide that I'm using, what they do is they make you draw more aggro. But if you have them in your inventory for Slade and also the main character, if you have them in your inventory but not equipped, sometimes they can cause you to learn this, like, glitch spell that was a placeholder in the game's coding. So maybe we'll try that out at some point, that's kinda cool. But yeah, they're apparently not a useful item, which I had sort of assumed they were. I mean, I guess they're a little useful to, like, draw enemies towards your tanky characters, but it doesn't seem like they're that, the guy had like a little, like, supposedly it does this, so I honestly don't know if it actually does or how much of an effect it has. But certainly they don't do anything useful. I really thought maybe they, like, I don't know, boosted critical hits or evasion or something, because they don't boost a visible stat, but I thought they'd at least be useful. Let's try and kill this priest, because we're not gonna get the orc down before he heals again, I'm thinking. It's just not happening. Man, his attack is bad. Like, that's a healer. He's pretty squishy. Okay, you got one more point of attack. That's a start. At least you did something. Let's just finish off the gargoyle because we can. That way we'll have less people attacking us. You know? This is the type of game where it has what TV Tropes calls critical existence failure, where until you're at 0 HP, oh fuck, you are great, just great. You're just as effective in combat. Losing HP doesn't weaken you. Sarah will actually be handy here because she can finish this guy off with magic, since that doesn't care about your defenses. Very good job. And she only got 1 X from that. I guess because she's over leveled a bit. These orcs are bullshit. They're hard to kill, but they're not giving us... They do a lot of damage. They're really hard to kill, yet they're not really giving us a lot of eggs. What a frustrating enemy. It's difficult, but not rewarding. Chester, you might die if that orc hits you again, but we'll take out the priest at least. So at least now the orc won't get healed up all over again. Ugh, but yeah, anyway, so it's, enemies continue to do the exact same amount of damage as long as they're alive, regardless of HP. So taking out one enemy who's at low HP, like, reduces the damage that's incoming a lot, more than just doing a single attack on a guy who you're not gonna kill yet anyway. Kiwi may also die here, but I'm just like, you know, whatever. He's not that useful, you know, it's not like, oh, we gotta make sure Kiwi stays alive, what will we do without him? I'm really wondering, is Peter just that much stronger than everyone else, or does his attack, does it, like, is it somehow magic and, like, based in that it, like, doesn't, oh, that guy must have been the boss, nice. It doesn't, like, ignores defense or something, because he consistently seems like he's doing a lot to these enemies with high defenses. Okay. Finish the battle. I think we just keep going west. I guess. I don't know where else we would go. Here we go. So, Adler, if you remember, he's the kid who got blinded in that volcanic eruption, and he came along with us because in the town of Polka, there was absolutely no one who was sufficiently responsible to adopt a child. No one. So he came with us instead. Anyway, he's heard something. Wait. What's wrong, Adler? Ben, Peter, can you hear that? Hear what? I don't hear anything. Somebody is crying for help. From over there. Exactly this I was going anyway. But Adler, maybe he has like better hearing because he's blind, you know, like compensating. It's coming from this direction. Look over there. Oh no, that guy is drowning. We gotta go rescue him. Help me. An elven boy? He's stuck in the pond. He must tired. Let's pull him out. He'd be less tired if instead of twirling around like an idiot, he'd just like lie back and float. It's like, kid, float until we get there. Stop trying to swim out of it. Alright, so... as you might guess, this is Elric, the elf who went to go, like, find that fairy. Did you come to help me? Oh, thank you. I might have been eaten by monsters if you hadn't come. And more than that, kid, you might have drowned, you dumbass. My dinner is escaping. Who said that? I'm imagining it's a monster. Oh, a harpy. This is Harpy's pool. That pond catches my food. Hey, elf boy, good trap, huh? Those who get stuck in the pond are mine. It's my rule. So it's quite arbitrary. Then all the missing people were eaten by you? Oh my god, is that why there's no people in the elf village? Because they were all eaten? This is terrible. They were in my pond. And this elf is my dinner for tonight, got it? Did you guys bring the ketchup? No? Oh well. So he's just still in there, twirling around. It's like, dude, I'm assuming the pond traps him by magic or something, but it's like, at least stop exhausting yourself. Again, you could drown. Oh shoot, it's 35 minutes. Okay, so this is the start of another battle, so let's cut the episode here. And then we can have this battle before the next episode. So, We walked across a field that had monsters in it, and we found the missing elf, but he's about to be eaten by Harpy and or drowned, so we're gonna rescue him. Also, you heard an awful lot about a cake I'm making. This has been Shining Force 2.